Welcome back. It's been 71 years since the atomic bombing of Hiroshima. That incident that changed the world history happened on August 6, 1945, the day the United States dropped an atomic bomb over the city, killing thousands of people instantly, at least 140,000 by the end of that year. On Thursday last week, Russia donated to the Japanese government video of the bombing filmed by Soviet troops.
The video, said to have been filmed by Soviet troops, was released in Japan on Thursday last week. It was later donated to Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe by Sergei Narashkin, chairman of the State Duma of Russia, in the middle of June this year. It was later donated to the city of Hiroshima. The footage was filmed by Soviet troops inspecting the aftermath of the atomic bombing site, both in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. 3 days after the US dropped the first atomic bomb on Hiroshima, killing thousands, the city of Nagasaki was also hit by a second nuclear bomb on August 9, 1945. It led to Japan's surrender 6 days later. Many Americans think it was necessary to have dropped the bombs, bringing an end to the war. They feel more lives were saved than was lost during the bombings. Japan, still seeking an apology, feels the bombings were unjustified. Back in the city, a peace bell tolled at 8:15 a.m. on Saturday, the exact time when a U.S. warplane dropped the bomb. Thousands came out to honor the dead with a moment of silence. Though the United States has not apologized, President Barack Obama this year became the first incumbent U.S. president to visit Hiroshima, where he urged nuclear powers, including his own, to have the courage to escape the logic of fear and pursue a world without nuclear weapons. Tribute for the atomic bombing victims started at the city's iconic Peace Memorial Park, where people burnt incense and prayed in silence from the break of dawn, and will continue throughout the day.
I had a chat with Professor Charles Dokubo of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs about the aftermath of the bombings and its impact on world history. Do you think it was absolutely necessary for the U.S. to drop that bomb on Hiroshima?
There are two reasons about it. Why one is not necessary, but the other people claim that it was necessary. For me, it wasn't necessary, because if you look at the records of that period, from diplomatic channels and all that, you will see that the Japanese have already sent a message to the United States that they are surrendering and they are not going to continue with the war. But anyway, the United States and its allies have developed a new weapon, the enormity of it that has never been tested. It is used so that it could send a signal to the Soviet Union.
But why the Japanese? Why not just simply bomb the Soviet Union?
No, how could they were the Soviet Union was part of the allies that was against Germany. So how could they have bombed Soviet Union? The fact is that they were sending a signal to the Soviet Union that we've gotten this fantastic bomb and that it could do a lot of things and a lot of damages, not knowing that the Soviets were also working on their own to get the bomb.
Shortly after
they have that, yes.
Yes, now some Americans think that that act alone, the bombing of Hiroshima especially, not just Nagasaki, that it saved many lives. And I'm thinking that they're talking about American lives. But really, referring to, the radiation and everything else, the aftermath of the bombing, in your opinion, would the war have ended any other way?
It would have ended without even the use of the atomic bomb. We just have to know that. But that if the war had continued with a lot of troops in the war zones, then definitely some Americans will die. But also will Japanese and the Germans and all that died. But the fact is that why the Japanese, I think, the attack on Pearl Harbor was, for me, the greatest day of infamy in American history. For them to, the first time the American homeland has been attacked. They have security in that sort of distance they have from other parts of the world. And for it to be attacked, for them it was a telling reminder that this war was not just just like any other war. So they have to use it on the Japanese.
And this bomb led to a different dimension of nuclear activity, the arms race, leaving the rest of the world eager to develop nuclear weapons. We have countries like Russia, now North Korea, even the United States, Israel, everyone acquiring nuclear weapons and so on. While military might is important in the long run, does it make the world any safer that countries are acquiring arms?
For me, I think it makes the world a lot safer. A former French strategist was even saying that more is better. The fact is that we know that the efficacy of the bomb is such that it is not like any other bomb, and that having it sometimes does not make it a win war, because in the exchange of nuclear weapons and all that, there might be no victor, no vanquished. We might all be vanquished, in the sense that the living will envy the death because of the enormity of the bomb and its reaction with human flesh and all sorts of things. So it is not going to, nations might have acquired the rudiments and refinements of nuclear reaction, but that to all nations to develop the bomb because it's a safer weapon, I doubt if that's going to save the world.
What about nuclear activity? For all nations to acquire some form of nuclear activity?
Of course, that's also agreed. If you look at the discussions that led to the NPT treaty, you know, you have the Dean Acheson plan by the United States, the Baruch plan by the United States, then you have the Gromyko response to all what they've said. The fact is that initially America thought that the monopoly of the bomb will be for a very long time. Yeah. But eventually, and as a result, what the control should be, control all uranium resources. So that all uranium resources in the world will be taken over by the International Atomic Energy Commission. But the Russian position is that destroy your weapons first. Then we can all submit everything to the International Atomic Agency. So there was a lot of discussions, and then precautions were taken before the final rounds of the NPT treaty came. That's why there was that provision. Nations that are party to the treaty are entitled to knowledge for peaceful uses of nuclear reaction.
That makes it a bit complicated. It means another country can also desire to develop nuclear activity for peaceful purposes, which is what North Korea is arguing.
But the fact is that sometimes why the West is a bit worried about, the United States is a bit worried about, is that some countries that they are not very close to, or they are totally at opposite sides with the United States, those acquiring those becomes a very problematic thing for them. But those, their friends, if their friends acquire it, there's no problem.
They're their friends as long as their interests are being served. No permanent friend, no permanent enemy, right?
But the fact also remains that these are friends, and if you look at the NPT treaty and the way it has proliferated, the Soviet Union has been very careful in giving a nuclear secret to any country, even until the split of the Sino-Soviet split. The Soviet Union has not given nuclear information to any person. They've been very careful about it. While because of our NATO's American relationship with NATO and forward basing of weapons in Europe and all that, there were a lot of disagreement. If you sign this treaty, what of Euratom? Euratom is a body that carries out enrichment for Europe. Are you going to give them weapons? What of Germany, that is at the forefront of the then Cold War? Are you going to handle nuclear weapons to them to handle? So these were there were a lot of technicalities. So if you look at Article 1, those who have should not give to those who don't have. Article 2, those who don't have should not even seek to have it. You can see how it is. So those of us who don't have, we have already forsworn our own ownership to that bomb. We're not going to have it. And that's why nations, Article 4, nations that are party to the treaty are entitled to free information about peaceful uses of nuclear reaction and all that.
If someone has, access to nuclear codes or nuclear knowledge, you would want to protect that. But the UN is more concerned now about preventing, what happened in Hiroshima and Nagasaki from happening ever again. Looking at the reactions to the whole thing, but there have been some gains.
There have been a lot of gains in terms of controlling it. No nation after the Great Five, no nation has ever been regarded as a nuclear weapon state. And those even who have acquired the refinements of nuclear technology have never claimed to be nuclear weapon states. It's only rogue states like North Korea which is a hermit kingdom that does not relate with other parts of the world and all that, even in period of starvation, because of what they see as their national interest. They will go whatever, they will take whatever whatever it needs.